This is the Blind Grilling Experience, and I am the most interesting griller in the world. Welcome back to the Blind Grilling Experience. My name is Chris Peltz, and I am the most interesting griller in the world. And man, we have just been receiving a lot of comments, and folks have been taking off listening to the podcast. I really appreciate that. We are, of course, now on Apple iTunes. We're on Spotify, Google, and a host of other places that you can find us. And so we love hearing from you guys. Be sure and email us, blindgrilling@gmail.com, and tell us how it is you're listening, or if there's a, maybe someone else has told you about this, but you want us to be on whatever format you regularly listen to, and we're not there, let us know so we can try to get there. We definitely want to do that. So as you guys know, we've been switching from our YouTube channel format, which we'll do some videos eventually down the road, but right now we're really concentrating on getting the podcast going, and of course a lot of folks have also been telling us they missed the videos, and not just me, but we've had a lot of guests on our YouTube channel as well, and been asked a lot of questions about that. One particular guest that we had was Gabor the Blind Guy, and folks have been wondering where he is, and unfortunately I just don't know. I'm not sure exactly what's happened to him, but I'm really hoping that we can kind of touch base, get back together, and maybe get him on the program.
Christopher,
hello.
I'm right here, Christopher. Hello, I'm here.
That's right, folks. We have Gabor the Blind Guy joining us today, and man, I am so excited. Man, how's it going?
Hey guys, hi everyone. It's going great.
Yeah.
I'm really excited about your new podcast.
Oh yeah, me too, man. That's dude, I tell you what, that was some of my favorite episodes, is when you would send me a clip and we were able to insert into our videos with that hungry Hungarian or crazy Hungarian, and that was awesome. And of course the videos that you had up on YouTube as well. And a lot apparently has been going on in your life. A lot of things have been happening with that. Of course, you've taken, I know, all your social media and YouTube down. If you want, maybe tell little folks, whatever you want to tell about that and why that is, and then maybe we can tell them some things that we've got planned for the future.
Well, as most of you hopefully know me, I had a YouTube channel for about 3 years, where originally it started out as a hobby. For those that don't know, I'm blind. I have optic nerve atrophy. I had a brain tumor that caused me to go blind. It damaged my optic nerves. So I did videos about that, about what's it like to be blind, challenges, food reviews. And back in December, I did a video. My dad is an engineer for a major company where he designs and builds packaging machines for food, different foods, like pretty much anything in stores you could think of, he's done. Literally everything you could think of, he's done. So he was asked to design this machine that puts a childproof cap on a soda can. And he thought it would be funny to see me, a blind person, open that can. He wanted to see if I was able to open it. So I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to film this and see if I can do it. So I did it. I filmed the video. The whole point of the video was to see if I could open the childproof can. But apparently some people misconstrued what I said, or I don't know what the proper wordage for it is, but they looked at why that can was childproof, not the fact that it was childproof. They kind of...
Without getting into all the details, they were going to add an ingredient to the product, and so they wanted a childproof can on it, and folks just really went nuts about
in Canada.
Yeah, and really just
and then that
came after you.
that video pretty much, in my world, went viral. That video got 10,000 views in like 2 or 3 hours, which is unheard of on Gabor the Blind Guy YouTube channel. Most of my videos got maybe 100, 200 views. And, that's every YouTuber's dream, to have a video go viral like that. But that's where the trouble started. I started getting comments on that video like, hey, man, give me some financial advice. Is this first of all, is this video legit? Are you for real? Is this soda company doing this? Putting this product in there.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't know. All I know is that my dad designed the can, and that's it. I don't know anything else financially. Basically, they wanted me to give them financial advice on whether or not they should invest in this company, the companies in Canada, which I had no knowledge of. I'm just a blind guy trying to do a funny video, trying to open up a childproof can.
Yeah.
I have nothing to do with the soda company. I have nothing to do with the other company in Canada. I have nothing to do with my dad's company. My dad, we didn't break any non-disclosure agreements. We did nothing illegal. But
you were the number one trending subject on Reddit and CNN? And
literally, Bloomsburg, Detroit.com, the soda company released a press release about me, denying everything.
So it was crazy. You were absolutely overwhelmed with what people were trying to do. I got literally hundreds of messages from people. Yeah.
And, I went on Reddit. I mean, all these articles are still up there, guys. You can read it if you want. Just search Gabor the Blind Guy. All I will say is this is the first time I'm publicly speaking of this. So if you read anything online claiming to be me, it's not me. I have not publicly responded to anything.
Right.
But there are people out there pretending to be me, commenting.
Oh wow.
So,
and that's too bad, man. That's ashamed. And I'm glad you're here. I'm glad you're on the program. And as we move forward, you became a big part of Blind Grilling YouTube channel, and I think moving forward that's something that I would love to have here on Blind Grilling Experience on the podcast, because there's a lot of things that you and I have in common, a lot of things that we can share with a lot of other blind and visually impaired folks, and you're funny. I mean, we have fun doing all kinds of little things and skits and, just experiences that we have that I think we can share with other people to really help them understand more about the blind and visually impaired community, and experiences as dads, and as husbands, we got to be careful sharing some of those experiences, but we'll have fun with this. Now, real quick, you said that you had a brain tumor, and you ended up losing your sight. You had surgery, which that I understand from your YouTube channel, that was a feat in and of itself, because just finding someone who was willing to operate. How big was the tumor?
The original tumor, it's called a meningioma, which means the tumor was actually on the membrane surrounding my brain, like the skin, and it was 61 millimeters. I don't know how much that is in inches, so you guys can figure it out, but it was huge. And I was given 2 to 3 months to live. And many neurologists, brain surgeons passed. There's like, sorry, there's nothing we can do. Mm-hmm. Good luck. And luckily, my wife found a very talented brain surgeon who was willing to do the surgery. But he was very brutally honest with my wife, because at this point I was already knocked out. I was, I didn't know what was going on, because the brain tumor really messed my brain up at the time. Mm-hmm. The surgeon pretty much told my wife, I'm not going to lie to you, he's probably not going to survive the surgery, but I'm willing to take that chance if you are. Because he's pretty much going to die in 2 or 3 months anyway, so why not take the chance and do the surgery? Now, could you imagine what my wife was going through at this point?
Right.
I mean, could you imagine having to make that decision? Because at this point, she had power of attorney over me. Like I said, I'm knocked out in the hospital bed. So she had to pretty much decide on whether she wanted to do the surgery or have me be essentially in a coma for the next 2 or 3 months in the hospital and then ultimately die. So she agreed to do the surgery. Of course, she had to sign all these legal paperwork saying if I did die, there wouldn't be any malpractice lawsuits or anything. And 11 hours later, the surgeon was able to take 60% of my brain tumor out. And then, obviously, here I am 5 years later. I'm still alive.
Which is
and
awesome.
Obviously, I had a few complications since then. The tumor started growing back. So I'd have radiation, all kinds of stuff. But luckily now, my brain tumor is shrinking. It's down to 15 millimeters now. So it went from 61 millimeters to 15, and my current oncologist says it's pretty much dead. Like, she said stable, but that's her way of saying my brain tumor's dead. It's just a dead lump in my brain. And she said it'll take several years for my body immune system to dissolve the tumor, but
my wife says my brain is a dead lump. so, oh man. Yeah. Well, so after the surgery, of course, I'm recovery, all that is going to take, it took a lot of time, but you had lost your vision due to all this.
Yeah. According to my wife, because even before all this, my memory was really messed up. My wife said I started losing my vision probably about November of 2014, where, I would have double vision. Some days I couldn't see, some days perfectly fine. And it's hard for people to understand why, I didn't realize something was going on. Mm-hmm. Well, when you have a brain tumor, you're like the entire year of 2014, I don't remember anything. Like, seriously, I don't remember anything. The only thing I remember is the whole way this came to light was my wife got promoted at her job, so she had to go to work early one day. My daughter's school was so close to our house that we didn't have busing, so we'd have to go pick them up. But my wife had to go to work, so she dropped me off at the school, and I was to walk home with the girls from school. Well, I picked them up, and as I was walking home, just out of nowhere, snap, I'm blind. And of course, if you just go blind out of nowhere, I started going crazy. And luckily, a police officer saw me, acting crazy, mm-hmm. like what? And he realized there was something going on, so he took me to the hospital after my wife, got notified at work and everything, and that's when the brain tumor was discovered. So, thank God that cop came along, because if not, then, God only knows where I'd be right now,
Yeah, right. So. Yeah. Well, and we're glad you're here. And, this is something that, we hear about occasionally, with brain tumors. There's been a few folks that I've come across on YouTube that, due to brain tumors, have lost their sight. But there are several YouTubers that have, as adults, something has happened to them with no warning. Nothing known ahead of time, and all of a sudden, they either start losing their sight, and it happens quickly over a few months or a couple of years at the most, or just one day it's just gone. And it's interesting. We've all got these different stories. Of course, I was diagnosed at 10, so I knew I was going to be losing my sight. Didn't know the time frame necessarily, but it went knowingly. But here you are in this situation, in your 30s, and all of a sudden, not only you and your wife, but 3 young children, and your world has changed. It's turned upside down and completely different. So that can be a difficult thing, and I know you dealt a lot of that on your channel, your YouTube channel, which is one reason why it's a shame it's gone, because I think you were a help to a lot of people as far as that channel is concerned. And, maybe we can bring some of that here to the Blind Grilling Experience, and maybe we can help some folks in that respect. But before we get any further, though, let's hold on just a second, and I'm going to let folks know about some of our partners. This week, we're going to be talking about Kick Ash Basket. They've got a lot of accessories for Camadoo-style grills and other grills as well, including Weber. And, of course, their motto is, shake that ash and light that fire. But, folks, one of my favorite accessories, besides the original Kick Ash Basket and Kick Ash Can for the Big Green Egg, as a blind and visually impaired griller and cooker, I love their heat-resistant gloves. They do have some cotton gloves with the silicone lining on the finger pads and the palms, and man, they can resist heat like crazy. Well over 500 degrees. I'm grabbing all kinds of cast iron skillets and hot convector plates from the grill and the smoker and moving them around. I use them inside in the oven. I use them out on the grill, and they do a great job resisting heat. And I still have a lot of great dexterity in my hands. So go check out kickashbasket.com because they definitely have got some great products for those who love grilling. They've got of course, the gloves. They've got charcoal gloves, which just kind of help keep your hands clean as well. But a lot of other great products that they've got. And of course, if you use Camadoo grills or Weber's or even the PK grill, they have some awesome charcoal baskets to help manage your fire as well. So check them out at kickashbasket.com. All right. So as we get back here and talk about, having Gabor the Blind Guy on, Gabor, you and I met, of course, through YouTube, commenting on each other's videos and eventually kind of sending video clips back and forth. And, one of the things that you did a lot was try different foods. You loved eating and of course you love eating. Who doesn't, right? That's why we get along so well. But you try all kinds of different foods and things like that. But looking back at your channel that you had, what was probably one of your favorite things, maybe your favorite video as far as food is concerned? Not necessarily the favorite food, but the favorite video that you did of trying something weird or unique.
My favorite video, food related, would probably be when I tried the Death Wish hot sauce at Tijuana Flats. Because obviously you and I are friends. Most of those videos, yes, the food is spicy, but I would overdo it a little bit just to be funny. Well, in that video, I wasn't overdoing it. That was seriously the spiciest thing I've ever tried in my life. And people were telling me, your face, I could tell you weren't acting.
Right,
it was
right.
like the look on my face was like, oh man, what did I get myself into?
Yeah, right.
So that would probably have to be my favorite slash not favorite one.
Yeah, right. Oh man, and then there were so many. I mean, you had food from different countries all around the world, and then of course, what was it? Oh man, there were so many to choose from. But when someone would come out with something new, whether it was like a Wendy's or the spicy chicken sandwich, that was Popeyes maybe competing with Chick-fil-A and things. So you tried a lot of food. It was great. Oh, I remember the non-meat burger from Burger King.
Yeah, the Impossible Whopper.
Yeah, Impossible Whopper. Yeah. So you did things like that. I mean, what'd you think of that? Really?
Not to get back into my brain tumor, but my brain tumor also ruined my olfactory nerves, which means I can't smell anything, and I really can't taste that much either. So honestly, that's why I always try spicy stuff, because that's really the only thing I could taste is spicy and salty and a little sour. But that I thought kind of tasted like cardboard, like the meat itself, like it had no flavor at all.
Yeah.
Like I want, real beef, real steak, not fake protein steak,
Yeah, right. So, yeah, I hear you.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, it's been several months since you've gotten off YouTube because this happened back in December when you got rid of your channel. Any thoughts of, are you pretty much just done with it? Are you gonna, what are your thoughts?
Well, for now, I'm trying to, I've had some health situations, some medical issues lately. I had a seizure back on St. Patrick's Day at Tijuana Flats, of all places. And it wasn't because of the food. I just had a seizure. And same thing. I woke up in the hospital like, what's going on?
Yeah.
And when the ambulance took me away, my wife forgot to tell them that I'm blind. So when I woke up in the hospital, they didn't know what was going on. But I thought I would try YouTube again. I started a new YouTube channel, and I uploaded kind of like a teaser trailer, whatever you want to call it, to my new channel. This was about 2 or 3 weeks ago. And it started again. People started messaging me on there, with the previous issue.
Right.
And I'm like, man, will you guys just leave me alone? That's why I had to cancel my Twitter account, my public Facebook page, everything, because it just won't go away. So I think for now, you're stuck with me on this podcast.
Which is great. Yeah. And that's fine, man. I'm so looking forward to doing several shows with you and having you on regular and let's, sharing our experiences because, we love food. So we're going to talk about food. We're going to talk about those types of things. And you do some cooking, I would love for you to share in upcoming episodes, your Hungarian goulash and, some other, recipes, little things that you do. I think that would be awesome. So I look forward to, things like that. But, we want to talk about, like I mentioned earlier, experiences as dads, as husbands, areas in which we live, we have different experiences. So I think we can be beneficial to some who might listen, who may be struggling because constantly, there are those who either, on various blind and visually impaired groups, are commenting or asking questions. Either, they have suddenly lost their sight or they found out they're losing their sight and they want to know what to do, how to deal with it. Or a family member is asking, what this is, what my dad, my husband, my brother, whoever it is going through this. And my wife is going through this, how can I help? And, because as much as the blind community talks about how difficult it can be for us to go through losing our sight, it doesn't just affect us. It affects our families. It affects our kids and our wives. And we, sometimes I think we lose sight of that. And so, that's something as we approach some of these things, we want to have that in mind as well. And which can be difficult because there are certain times when, it does need to be about us. It does need to be about me because of the struggles that I'm going through. But, when I get through that, I need to remember, I'm not the only one having those struggles and those difficulties. Whether it's my kids or my spouse, other family, coworkers, whatever it is, they're having to deal with some of this also. And so, so we need to remember that and have that in mind and I think that's something that, we've done. And I think in fact, from your YouTube channel, one of the first videos I commented on was how you were really taking up the slack at home, and some of the things that you were doing, because I think I commented like, man, don't let my wife know that a blind person can do some of this stuff because she'll expect me to do it at home, and so that's kind of how that got started with us. But that's something I would really like to, explore and make sure that we acknowledge moving forward with our loss of vision.
Yeah, that's one thing. Like, most people. Before I went blind, I didn't know. I just thought, oh, you're blind. Okay, whatever. But a lot of people don't think of, being blind, I always say this, and this is just me personally. I'm not saying all blind people feel this way, but for me personally, being blind is more of a psychological thing instead of a physical thing. For me, I've gone through depression, I've gone through suicidal thoughts, and it's a roller coaster ride. Sometimes I feel great for several months. Then, I have health issues like this seizure I had a few months ago really, knocked me down a few pegs. And like you said, like sometimes we're selfish, like, oh, it's all me. But then you got to look at it from your wife's point of view or your kid's point of view. And that's what I told my wife when I first came home from the hospital 5 years ago. I told her, I'm like, honey, listen, I'm obviously blind now. I'm going to try to do as much as I can around the house to help you out because, I don't want to be a burden on you. And I think that's a lot of, once again, I'm not speaking for all blind people, but a few blind people I have spoken to say they feel like they're a burden now on their spouse or their partner or their parents. So, that's one thing I do want to talk about in the future about how, we're not burdens. We can do everything anyone else can do. It's just it takes us a little bit longer, or we find little tricks on how to do certain things. So
right.
I think we'll have a few good talks in the future on this podcast platform.
Yeah, and that's where you and I actually are coming from two different directions, because I know you didn't ask to be blind, but your wife didn't ask for you to go blind either, right?
Yeah.
And so you two met, were married, had 3 kids before any of this happened. Well, whereas with my wife, when we met, I had a guide dog, and I still had a little bit of usable vision, very little, but she knew up front that not only did I have a visual impairment at the time, but very likely I was going to lose all usable vision. So she was very aware of that up front. So this wasn't a shock, a surprise, and all that for her. So from that, that vantage point, we're at, coming from this at 2 different directions, but which is good. I think that will help the discussion moving forward and helping others that, will find themselves, because there are those that, I'm either they're dating someone and they know that they're blind, like, well, are they really going to want to marry me? Or someone who is sighted has met someone who's visually impaired, is like, well, really? They're going to ask questions, and that doesn't make them a bad or mean person or some kind of dark, twisted.
No,
it's just natural.
You could ask away, yeah.
Exactly. And to question things if they don't know, and so that's what we want to be as advocates and help educate folks about independence of the blind and help those who are blind to be independent as well. So those are some things that I'm really excited to kind of talk about moving forward as well, and try to help folks in various situations that I think we can draw from our experiences and help them with that as well.
Exactly. And that was the whole point of my YouTube channel. Is I used to say, ask anything, even if you think it's the stupidest question, just ask. How do blind people do this? How do blind people do that? And people would ask me, and I would do videos about it. And I'm same with this podcast. If you want to know how blind people do certain things, just send us an email. blindgrilling@gmail.com.
That's right.
That's right. We'll answer your questions. I'm an open book when it comes to my disability. I'm not. I'm here to help. Chris is here to help. Like Chris mentioned earlier, I still have issues with dignity, using public restrooms. Just recently with my stroke, like Chris said, when my wife met me, I was this young, attractive, 23-year-old guy, full head of hair, and now here I am, bald-headed, overweight, blind, having seizures, so in my head, I'm like, does she still love me?
You make it sound so good. I don't know.
So, I still, every once in a while, I'm like, oh, maybe I should,
oh, man.
Vacuum extra this week or something just to earn my keep. But, you learn once you go blind that, you love your wife or your husband for what's on the inside, not what's on the outside. Because I haven't seen, quote unquote, my wife in over 5 years. I don't know what she looks like anymore. I don't remember what she looks like anymore. I really don't. My kids, tomorrow, my daughter Caitlin is turning 7 years old. The last time I saw her was when she was 1.5 years old. So in my head, she's still that 1.5-year-old baby. I can't imagine what she looks like now. So, these are things that, newly blind people might have issues with coping with. Because for me, like, I don't claim to be an expert, but, we've gone through this. Obviously, we're not medical experts. We can't offer medical advice or anything like that, but we can offer you advice as a friend. Like, here's what I did. I'm not saying it's going to work for you, but here's what I did to get rid of these thoughts in my head, or, how I can identify this bottle of shampoo or this bottle of conditioner, or how I vacuum the house,
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
I'm just rambling, aren't I?
That's all good, man. It's, one of the things, and then we'll wrap up for this program, but one of the things that I missed was probably, like I said earlier, was did you say, was it the hungry Hungarian or the crazy Hungarian? What did you call your character?
I never really established a name. I just called him the crazy Hungarian guy. He never had a name, nothing. I never
you named
really...
his wife, but you didn't name him. That's funny.
Yeah, I wanted to... I don't know if you guys are familiar with Miranda Sings on YouTube, but, there's Colleen Ballinger. She's a YouTuber. And then she has another channel where she does Miranda Sings. It's two totally different worlds. So I kind of wanted to be like that, where Gabor, the blind guy, is me personally. This is my personal stuff. And the crazy Hungarian guy is just a character I play, So I wanted to have a fine line between those two characters,
Yeah. Well, hopefully we'll have the crazy Hungarian on the show quite a bit as well, because he's so entertaining.
We'll just need to adjust the volume level.
Yeah, right. Yeah. He gets a little
loud. I tend to get loud.
Yeah. And we'll work on that. We'll work on, all that, the specifics and quality and all that. So as we get this started, we get this rolling and have you on the program, on the show. This is, really just excited that you're back and that you're going to come on and be a part of the blind grilling experience. So folks, if you've been wondering where in the world is Gabor the Blind Guy, we've got him. He's right here. We've kidnapped him. We've got him, and he's going to be making regular appearances on Blind Grilling Experience. And Gabor, we are so happy to have you and have you out and ready to, I guess, kind of like with me, switch formats a little bit and get into podcasting.
And I want to thank you, Chris, personally. For those that don't know, Chris and I are really good friends in real life. I mean, we live thousands of miles apart, but we text and message each other every day just to check in on each other. We're almost like old men, like, the weather today is 75 degrees. Like, we give each other the weather reports, what we're eating for lunch, what we're making for dinner.
I'm glad you said really almost like old men.
So I really appreciate your friendship. I mean, you helped me. I mean, you, of all people, know all the struggles I went through for the past, 5-6 months. So you've helped me out a lot, and hopefully this podcast will help a lot of people out, even if you're not blind or visually impaired, even sighted people. Just your food recipes alone, like the previous episode you did with the blueberry cheesecake, I was like, oh man, I really want to try those.
Oh yeah. Yeah, they're awesome, man. I grilled some chicken breast tonight. My wife took it and made some chicken Alfredo. So yeah, it was good. But I've definitely got some food ideas planned for the podcast that we're going to be talking about, using leftovers and some things that they're going to be coming up real soon, because man, I've been eating so good, even with the leftovers of some things we've been having. So I'm excited to share that with folks as well. So, but so glad you could be on, and look forward to more adventures and experiences with Gabor the Blind Guy. We'll definitely be sharing those with folks.
Yep.
Absolutely. All right. Well, folks, we appreciate you listening to the Blind Grilling Experience. If you have some questions for us, be sure and email blindgrilling@gmail.com. Check out our YouTube channel. There's a lot of things that are still on there. Occasionally, we hope to still get a few videos up. So go to youtube.com/blindgrilling or facebook.com/blindgrilling, and you can check out some of the posts and things. Keep up with us there as well. And if there's a platform you think we should be on that we're not as far as podcasting is concerned, let us know so we can try and get on there. We appreciate all the shares, subscribes, and all that kind of stuff as well. And we like doing it, but there's no point if you guys folks aren't going to listen. And so I appreciate all the feedback that we get. Until next time, remember, if you're looking, you ain't cooking.